Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jay and you've caught me in my workshop. Somewhere a little bit different this week, and frankly that's because of the weather. In the UK here it continues to be crazy warm as we're going through a major heat wave, and I just couldn't face several hours in my office recording content as I normally would. I had a RetroQuest plan this week. That went out the window. It's all scripted, it'll happen at some point in the future, just not today. And instead I wanted to do something that I could do out here where it's a little bit cooler, still quite warm, but also something a bit fun that was game adjacent but still kind of making projecty, crafty, and in this case 3D printing. So for those who've been watching the channel for a while, you know this workshop was built mainly to accommodate my crafting desires and the things that I wanted to do, and 3D printing was a big part of that. In fact, I don't know if you can hear the 3D printer whirring away in the background. It's off doing its thing. So what I thought this weekend, when I realised just how crazy hot it was, I thought, well, could I do a sort of a 24-hour build or less? And what I've done is I found a project on the Bambu Labs handy app, which I will be showing on screen. If you don't know, Bambu Labs, which is the printer model I bought a Bambu Labs P1S with the AMS feeder. It's somewhere in the region of about 6 to 650. If it's something you want to get into, you can go much cheaper for filament 3D printing, but when I looked at all the different things on the market and the products that were out there, this one seemed to be the most robust in terms of ease of use, feature rich, and it's got some cool stuff that you'll see later on in this video. So on the app you've got access to a whole digital store of things that people are just making freely available for you to print, and it's a bit addictive, it's a lot of fun. So I went looking for something game related, something that I could do for the games room that would be really interesting, and I came across the item you'll have seen alluded to in the thumbnail, and I'll show you at the end the completed version, but I came across this Book Nook, and there's actually a designer on there who's done several Book Nooks. There's one I might go on to do with the turtles, but this one I chose was Kratos from God of War, and I thought I'd give it a go. So it took about 11 hours to print, I think, from memory. So I let that run all day yesterday while dealing with what was a slightly hotter day. I think it was 30+ degrees C here in the UK. And then this morning took that off the printer, as I'll show you shortly, and then went to town basically painting it and getting it ready for the office. Now, because I was doing this in a weekend, I have shortcuts involved in this process. Would I do it the same way again separately if I did it with a bit more time? Probably not. But I'm really pleased with the result, which you'll see at the end of the video. So this is a slightly different video from me. I'm not going to talk over this one. I'm going to do the intro. I'm going to let you watch the content as it came together, as the item printed, and then obviously I painted it and got it ready for application. And then the next time you see me will be at the end of the video, where I'll show you the final piece in situ. So kick back, get yourself a brew and enjoy the next maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I'm not quite sure how long it is. I've not done the edit yet. Watch the next 5 or 10 minutes of footage as I bring together my Kratos Book Nook. So there you go, that was how I 3D printed my first ever Book Nook. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and it was something a little bit different. As I said, just far too hot this last couple of weeks to be recording in here. I'm hoping that it's going to cool down just a little bit. I don't want rain or cold, horrible weather. Don't get me wrong, for other UK residents, I would like the sun to continue, but maybe just a little cooler, a few degrees cooler, let's say low 20s. Anyway, it's here, you can see it over my shoulder. I will of course do some zoomed in shots and something a little bit nicer to look at. But I'm really pleased with it for something that basically took me, just a couple of hours of work really around the printing itself and drying time for paint and things like that. Obviously, in fact, it was probably less than that. It was probably about an hour all in terms of actual effort. There's definitely things that I could improve. I think some of the print quality in places was a bit questionable. A little bit more time sanding back, filing back, etc. might have been useful just to round off some of those edges. You'll see me make that mistake in the footage as well, where I accidentally got that really bold red on that nice white. That was annoying. But yeah, and I'm thoroughly enjoying my 3D printing at the moment. I've had a great time making that. I am tempted to do the Turtles one as well. Probably do that just for my own fun rather than filming it. But yeah, I've also spent a lot of time printing other things gaming adjacent. So I've done a Switch stand. In fact, I did two of these, a Switch game stand and cartridge holder. I did one for my son's Switch games because they were always a mess and his cartridges were always out. And I did one for my nephew's. I did a few bits for his birthday, which you may have seen in a short I did recently. So there was the kind of knitted shine sprite, the Boo, which I really liked, which just required a little bit of painting of some of the component parts. And then the Babom sort of sweet container, which I really like. It's probably my favourite one of all of those. And I'm in the process of printing an N64 game cartridge display, which I was really hoping to include in this video, but again, it's a long print. I will show you some footage of that though, kind of in printing as it speaks. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, I've had a lot of fun doing this. It's a little bit different to my normal content, but hopefully given the gaming flavour, you'll stick with me. But yeah, like and subscribe if you haven't already. We did hit the milestone of 500 just before my video went out last week, which was quite funny given that there was like a final plea to get me over the line. So thank you if you're one of those few. I hope you've enjoyed this week's content. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of the project and you thought of the Book Nook. What would you have done differently? Are there any others that you'd like to have a look at, or any other 3D printing projects I should try? Again, let me know in the comments. But that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.